I am open and receptive to all good. How does that feel? Does it really feel wonderful for everybody? Too often, we sit, and people come to me and want to get prosperity and things like this, and I see them sitting like this. And I think, how are we going to let it in? How are we going to let it in? And this is such a wonderful symbolic gesture. I am open and receptive to all good. Not a little bit, not just some, but all good. When you do something like this, the universe notices. The universe notices. Okay, this is going to be a nice question and answer session. I'll talk a little bit and we'll do some questions and see where you are. See what your stuck points are in prosperity. Because a lot of people think that prosperity is just money. But really, there's many, many other things that come under this auspices of prosperity. There's time and love and success and joy and comfort and beauty and wisdom and good health and money. You can be very poor in time. If you feel really rushed all the time and always pressured, you have poverty in your time. But if you feel that you have all the time in the world and that whatever you want to finish, you'll get done and it will all happen, then you're really prosperous in time. And what about success? If you feel that it's really way beyond your reach, then you're never going to get it. But if you feel that you can be successful, whatever that means to you, then that's wonderful. That's prosperity. Comfort. How many of you are prosperous in comfort? Or do you live lives that are really very uncomfortable and hard and tight? Wisdom. Do you have prosperity in wisdom? Do you feel that all the wisdom in the universe is available to you? Or do you think, I'm just me and I don't know very much and, I can't figure things out? If you feel that you're really connected with the universe and you really trust that part of you that's inside, then you can be absolutely prosperous in the abundance of wisdom. And what about love? Do you feel that you have an abundance of love? Or are you very poor in love? Is there just a little bit of it in your life? How about joy? Do you feel you're really prosperous and have an abundance of joy? Or is that something you just allow yourself a little bit of now and then? And you really are very poor in joy. And then what about beauty? Do you see beauty everywhere? Do you allow yourself to experience an abundance of beauty? And what about good health? Do you have no health? Is there very little? Are you poor in good health? Or are you prosperous and do you have an abundance of good health? And of course there's money then. There's money too. What do you let yourself have? Are you poor in money or do you have an abundance of it? I like to use that image a lot of the ocean, standing in front of the ocean with a container in your hand. And you're there and you have this container, but what is it? Is it a thimble with a hole in it? Is it a small cracked cup? Is it a mug? Is it a vase? Is it a quart jar? Or a pail? Or a bucket? Or a wash tub? Or do you have a pipeline? And remember, no matter how... A pipeline. Run it right in. But no matter how much you have, whatever your container it is, and no matter how much you're taking from the ocean of life, and even though we're all standing there, we're not robbing each other, and there's plenty for everyone, and no matter how much we take, there is no way we're going to run that ocean dry. It's absolutely impossible. And if you can see yourself standing at the ocean of life in the same way, and remember, the container that you have is your consciousness, and you can always change your consciousness. And it doesn't matter if you came from poverty. It doesn't matter where you came from, and it doesn't even matter what your parents' beliefs were, or if they came from the Depression, or whatever. Because it's your consciousness, and what you're choosing to think and believe about prosperity, and your ability to deserve it, is what's going to create it for you. See, it has nothing to do with getting. People always think, I want to get this, or I want to get this. It's really allowing yourself to accept, which is a different concept. When you're not having something that you want, It's because on some level you're not allowing yourself to accept it. But you see, life is here for us. It's here for us, and it's here to support us in every way. But remember, what we give out, we get back. So if we're stingy with life, then life will be stingy with us. It's just that simple. If we steal from life, life will steal from us. And you know, department stores are not fair game. If you take paper clips from the office or do your personal Xeroxing there, that's not fair game, because it's the same old thing. What you give out, you get back. And what you're saying to the universe, in a way, is I can't afford to have those things for myself. I don't have the ability to earn it. Therefore, I must take it from somebody. And that's poverty thinking. That never, ever, ever creates prosperity. Life is here for us, and there is an incredible abundance on this planet. Sometimes we only see our lack, but the abundance that is here is so enormous. You know, if you think about it for a moment, there is so much food on this planet that we could literally feed everybody on this planet. Yes, it is true that there are people that are starving, but it's not because of a lack of food. I mean, we burn crops in this country just to keep prices up. If people are starving, it's a lack of love. It's that we're allowing such a thing to happen. There is an absolute abundance of money on this planet. There is so much money that we can't even count it. And yes, it is true that there are many people who have very little, but it has nothing to do with the amount of money that's here. It's a lack of consciousness. It's a not deserving, not accepting. And are you aware that there are billions and billions of people on this planet, and yet you will hear people tell you that they're lonely? It has nothing to do with the amount of people. It's because we put walls up and we won't allow the love to come in. We have an abundance of air on this planet. You know, if you think about it, our most precious substance is the air we breathe. When we exhale, we take it absolutely for granted that the next breath will be there. And if we didn't have a next breath, we wouldn't live for 3 minutes. We literally would not get out of this room alive. And yet we take it absolutely for granted that when we exhale, the next breath is going to be there. And we're all breathing in this room, and I'm not saying don't breathe, there's not enough for me. We just assume. Now, if the most precious substance in our life has been given to us with such abundance, and that there's enough to last for as long as we shall live, then can we not trust that other things will be taken care of? And Matthew 6 is always a good thing to read when you're a little bit scared about stuff. The power that created us has put everything here for us, but it's up to us to deserve and to accept. That's what we need to do. You know, what we concentrate on increases. So you want to be very careful that you're not concentrating on debt and lack and bills and negativity, because that's what's going to increase it in our life. If you concentrate on bills and see them as enemies, then they're going to be enemies, and you will never, ever have enough to really take care of them. Bills are wonderful things. It means that somebody has trusted us enough to give us their service or their product, knowing that we have the ability to pay it. And if we can welcome those bills with love and rejoice, and when you write a check out to pay it or you pay a bill, absolutely rejoice that you're able to do it and know that what you're sending out is coming back to you. See, too often we think, oh, another bill, or we write the check and say, oh, there isn't enough or whatever. But start feeling a good flow with this whole thing. Self-image is very important, because self-image, feeling good about yourself, is prosperity. Prosperity begins with that. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're never going to enjoy it. And then look at your prosperity now, because everything that you do have in your life is a reflection of what you believe you deserve, what you believe about yourself. You know, look at your home. Is this a place that you really love to live in? Is it comfortable and joyous? Or is it cramped and dirty and always messy? The same thing with your car. You know, is your car something that you really don't even like? Or is it something that reflects the love you have for yourself? And what about your clothes? You know, are they just a bother and a nuisance and something you have to wear? Or is it something you really rejoice in? Because again, it's a reflection of you. What about your bank account? You know, how do you feel about that? And what is the state of it? Are you friends with money, or is it an enemy? All these things are important because what we have in our life is a reflection of ourselves. But remember, no matter where we are or whatever is happening, it's a reflection of ourselves, but it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. It's a thought about what you believe about yourself, what you believe about life, and what you believe you deserve. Now, let's take our little mirrors out for a moment. Our precious little mirrors that are so wonderful. How many people here do mirror work on a daily basis? Well, a few. How many people have never done mirror work? All right. Well, you're in for an interesting experience. The reason I like mirrors so much is that they really move you through stuck places because they reflect to you almost instantly what your beliefs are that are against you. Okay, let's look into the mirror for a moment. Look into your eyes and just say to yourself, my biggest fear about money is... Just notice what comes up. What comes up? What is coming up when you do that? What sort of fears? Let's just share that for a moment. What sort of fears come? What? Yes, right here.
My biggest fear about money is that it'll either be taken away when I get it, or that somehow that I won't be taken care of. And I do a lot of the mirror work, and I do a lot of prosperity work. And
who took money away from you when you were little?
Well, it was a control issue with my family, with my parents. I come from a family with money, but it was always that's where the love came from, was with money. And I come from a father who has a tremendous fear of being broke, so it was passed on, and I know that. So I'm trying to work through that.
Can you forgive him for that?
It's a tough one. I'm trying to, but it's a hard one.
Yes, but you see, your freedom with money is tied into it, not his. And he was doing the best he could coming from where he came from. And he probably was raised in a way that he was manipulated through guilt. So he manipulated you that way with money. So it's interesting that you came to this planet to learn stuff about money, and you had a lot of it. Because a lot of people need to learn their money lessons and they have nothing.
This is a big lesson. It's been put in front of me time and time again, so I'm real aware of it. It's just, when I start working through it, I get physical anxiety pains, I have panic attacks, all kinds of stuff.
Have you ever gone through a period in your life where you had no money?
No, I've never, no, it has not happened to me because when I'm pushed up against it, I work, I earn a good living, and it's always been provided. I mean, the evidence...
So you can take care of yourself.
Yeah, and the evidence that it's not going to be there, that's just my own fear, because it has always been provided. I've always been able to pay my bills and have nice clothes and live in a nice place.
So your barrier, your issue really is fear. And not trusting.
Yeah.
Who is it you're not trusting? Are you not trusting your father? Or you're not trusting yourself?
I'm not trusting myself.
And yet your track record is very good.
Yeah, only over the past, year and a half is really when I was turned loose to take care of myself, and that's, of course, when
I have a feeling that you could take $5 and live a whole month very well.
Tough question.
No, I think you have enough resources. That you're a very clever, very bright person, and you would work it out. You could probably start out with no money, but I'd say $5 just to get you started.
Well,
and you could live a whole month without it. Remember, money is a means of exchange. It has no meaning in itself. We give it so much meaning. Okay, so your fear is that you won't be taken care of and it's going to be taken from you. And you see where it's coming from. All right, let's have a couple more. Yes, right here. All right. She said that what came up for her that is starving, that you would starve. Okay. Have you ever?
No.
Did your mother, your father, did they come from a space of that? Did they grow up in the Depression?
They did, but I don't think I'd ever no. I mean, I would have heard of it.
Okay. All right. It's an old thing. Maybe you had. Maybe it's something that you heard very young as a child from your parents, and you've picked it up. So that's wonderful, because you see, when you do something in the mirror like this and a thought comes up, the good thing to do is to write it down. And if you're doing your affirmations in front of your mirror at home, always have a pad and a pencil with you and write down whatever that negative message is. And you don't even have to deal with it right then. But later on you can sit down and maybe you'll have a list of them and say, wow, this is what I believe. No wonder I'm not having the prosperity that I want. You see, if we don't see what our negative messages are, it's very hard to change them. And what most of us do is when we hear or feel a negative message, we try to run from it. And we have all sorts of ways of doing that. I mean, people go to the extremes of drug and alcohol abuse and things like that. But there are lots of little ways that we run from our own barrier thoughts. And if we could, instead of that, accept them and examine them and turn them around, say, no, I don't want to believe that anymore. Remember, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. That's all we're dealing with, no matter how difficult it is. Feelings are thoughts in motion in the body. That's what they are. They have no entity of themselves. So we have a thought, we get a feeling, and then we get frightened of the feeling, or we try to run from it. But if we realize it's just the thought moving through our body, and the thought can be changed. So if you look at those things and you say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to believe this. And yours just came up, but it's probably an old one there. You know, and I don't want to feel that I'm going to lose money if I get it or something like that. I don't want to feel that I'm starving. I would rather choose to believe that I'm abundantly taken care of. I'm an extremely capable person. I can always create for myself. And I am always safe in the universe. You know, everything is supplied for me. We have to change these thoughts, and we must do them deliberately, because we're the people that are in charge. It's our minds. We think in our minds. Nobody else can do that. And we get the opportunity now of choosing what we want to think. When we were very little, we had a lot of stuff fed into us by our parents and other places around us. I mean, after all, we got it from relatives, we got it from neighbors, we got it from school, we got it from the church, we got it from television. All this stuff came in, and we're little, and we accept most of it. Very, very few small children really can say, no, that's nonsense, and I'm not going to believe that. Mostly children accept it and say, yes, yes, okay. But we're not little children now. We're adults. And we get to choose what we want to think. Only we have to look at what we are thinking at so we know what we need to change it to. Who else wants to share? Yes, right here.
I've had a pretty good belief system in money, I think, most of the time. And after reading your book, it really helped me a lot. And it was wonderful. I mean, it helped me so much. And I found unexpected sources of money coming in. And just my spending habits changed. And I felt great about it. I shared those beliefs with some people that I know, and I also talked about feeling like deserving certain amounts of money. And what happened was they told me that that's not true, that what makes you feel like you deserve it, and that's not true, you have to earn it, and they know how hard I work at my job, which is not very hard. But on the other hand,
no wonder they're upset. People get angry at people who don't work very much.
Right, but I do work in other areas outside of my job.
You don't have to justify yourself.
Okay, thanks. That was my fear, was that maybe I don't work hard enough to deserve the amount of money that I have.
Honey, if your consciousness is clear enough that you can bring in good money without struggling, I want you to love yourself. You see, you do something like you pick up your little mirror and say, thank you for being so clever and bright. Thank you for getting it. Because what you really did is you got it. You do not have to struggle in order to make money. If you really work at things that you love, you can usually bring in good money. If you work at things you hate, or if you have a belief that you don't deserve, then you won't have it. The people who are telling you you have to work hard, they work hard, yes? And they don't make as much as you do.
They don't seem to have as much.
Okay. Well, do you want to... See, you put out your hand, and you said, I'm willing to help you up. And they said, no, we're going to pull you down.
Right.
And which way do you want to go? See, I reach out my hand a lot to people. And if they take it and want to come up, that's wonderful. Then I can teach and we can really go places. But if they're going to try to drag me down, I say, bye. And I go work with somebody who really wants to come up out of the mud.
I see. Do you feel that money is an exchange of energy?
It's energy, it's an exchange of services, that's all it is. It has no meaning in itself. And, a $10 bill is quite as spiritual as a rose. It's matter, it's form, it's energy. And it's what we give it. It's what we believe about it. We have so much stuff on money. I used to find it was much easier to teach a class on sexuality than it was on money. Because when we get our money beliefs pushed, it's amazing how angry we get. Because they're very tied into us. Even though we may say, I want to prosper, we will put up barriers and fights and all sorts of things.
So it's okay to have money even without working hard at it.
First of all, you don't need my approval to live well. And what I believe really doesn't matter for you. If you've got it going so it works, enjoy it. In any part of your life. If your life is filled with love, don't listen to some miserable, lonely person tell you how to run your life. If your life is working well with money, don't let somebody whose life is not working with money tell you how to run it. And see, very often, remember, this happens with our parents, too. We'll have a parent who really had a miserable life. They come from a difficult place, and their own life is miserable. And then they will tell you how to run your life. If you're going to listen to people, listen to the winners. Listen to people who know what they're doing. Listen to people who've proved what they're doing. All right. Yes, right here. Coming forward.
When I looked in the mirror, the answer was, there won't be enough. But I think that comes from my parents. There never was enough money.
But when you were growing up, there wasn't enough
Right.
to take care of everything.
Right. There was, but there wasn't. But the real problem is my uncle has loads of money, and he treated people very badly. So how do I reconcile
Well, what difference does it make? There are people that are poor that treat people badly. It has nothing to do with money.
Well, it does in my psyche, unfortunately.
Now, the thing, you see, you said when you grew up there was never enough.
Right.
That doesn't mean there's not enough money. That only means that there wasn't enough money in your family.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with the abundance of money that's around. And your uncle, as I said before, prosperity to me begins with feeling good about yourself. Because when you really feel good about yourself, you're prosperous, even if you don't have much money. So the people who are nasty and mean are always people who haven't the faintest idea of how to love themselves. And what they're doing is expressing their own pain. Oh. All right, let's talk a little bit more. Yes. All right, right back here. We're coming back and forth. And then
Okay. Hi. When I looked in the mirror and said that, I thought I felt kind of insecure and sort of afraid because I did inherit some money. My father died last year, and I've been finding myself trying to give it to people.
Okay.
And I gave my mother $2,000. I gave my sister $1,000.
What did you give yourself?
I kept some money for myself, and but it's just I think it's a fear. I don't deserve it, and I'm not good enough to have
you may have
this.
some guilt about your father, too. And feeling that you're getting money from him when perhaps there were things you needed to clean up with him, and you didn't get a chance to. So it's like, I don't deserve it, and I better get rid of it. Yeah. But while you're going through those feelings, I would suggest that you put it in a bank account or a CD. Put it in a year CD,
I did put
and make it
CD.
sit there for a year while you work through your stuff.
Right.
And then when you've worked through your stuff, you can go and get the money and enjoy it. But if you have your hands on it right now, it sounds like every time a guilt feeling comes up, you may give some away.
Yeah, it's
And
like
then-
whenever anyone, I seem to have people in my life coming in with money problems constantly.
Of course.
And it's like the first thing I want to do, I'll give you $100. What do you need? You know, and it's like, I don't know if I'm trying to...
You see, they're coming to you because you're feeling the guilt about the money. If it wasn't, they probably wouldn't even mention that they had money problems to you. So they're helping you sort of go through your stuff. You need to begin to realize what you deserve. If you have any stuff with your father, do a meditation in your mind and forgive him or forgive yourself and have a talk to him so that you can clean things up. Tell him you love him and get it cleaned up in your mind so that that can be taken care of. Then you can then move from that step into deserving for yourself, that you deserve, and that remember, money problems or lack or having money